You are given a baby on your 21st birthday. The child turns out to be you as a baby. Raising him won't change your life, only his. How would you raise this child to give it a better life than one you have? Give it to my parents. I was ready to give a pessimistic reply to this, but now I wonder if my parents would able to raise a better version of me, knowing how I turned out due to their parenting. Honestly, my parents would probably me up even worse the second time around. Mine went from normal religious folk when I was born to anti-vaxxer, homeopathy, and alternative medicine using youth, earth creationism, believing anti-technologists. So they would definitely me up more the second time around. At that point, just give the child to a pack of wolves. Will probably fare just as well, if not better, because if it does survive, it's going to be pretty strong. The child might even end up ruling Rome. There's going to be a party when the wolves come home. I love history jokes. Is there a sub for them? Make him brush his damn teeth twice a day. Edit. Good to know I'm not the only one who feels this way. If you ever want your kids, emphasis on having at least two, to brush their teeth every day twice a day, make it a competition between them. As little kids, my siblings and I would rush to be the first one to start brushing their teeth and would call each other out if we didn't do it properly. From there, it just got ingrained into our routine, so it became automatic for us to brush. The negative side effect is that brushing too hard might have my enamel, and I have quite sensitive teeth. I'm a dentist. I tell kids they only need to brush and floss the teeth they want to keep. Oh God, yes. As we speak, I'm stuck on the toilet from these antibiotics I've been taking to kill the massive infection eating the bones in my face. Because I wasn't taught proper oral hygiene. 6 crowns, 1 failed crown that had to be turned to an implant, and surgical removal of a molar later. You'd think I'd have learned by now. Edit. I'm glad I've inspired so many of you to go brush. That's awesome. Everyone who has dental problems, you are not alone, and it's never too late to pick up good habits. Don't forget to floss, and the feeling of a good mouthwash is underrated, so you should try that too. Another edit. A lot of people are asking how it got this bad. There's a genetic factor, as both of my parents and one set of grandparents all have horrible teeth as well. I was also never made to brush my teeth as a child. Didn't go to the dentist. And it just wasn't something that we did in my house. I also didn't have health classes in school that taught the importance of it. I didn't figure it out on my own until high school. And by then the damage was already done. This latest problem, having to have an implant, was kind of just bad luck. I had a crown that slid out of place ever so slightly to where I didn't notice it. Bacteria got in a little crack and colonized in my gums. And it doesn't matter how much you brush, you can't reach underneath your teeth. So even though I have had good habits at this point, I don't floss as much as I should though. I can fix past damage. I also live in America where sugar is stable and dental care is insane even with insurance. Teeth are considered luxury bones here, and unfortunately teeth are also a too little too late type of problem. Come on, said the dentist. Come one and come all. Come see what I'm seeing, he started his call. Come view what I'm viewing, he shouted with joy. Come look in the mouth of this marvelous boy. His holes where they couldn't, they just shouldn't be. Not many, but massive with many to see. His mouth is a river of pus in a flood. His gums are awash with the color of blood. Good heavens, it's simply amazing, he said. He learned in to see and he just shook his head. He stared in bemusement, confusion and doubt. He picked up his pliers. Well, let's get them out. Give him to a parent who's older than 21. Seriously, I'm 31 now and I cannot imagine being given a baby at this age. let alone the age of 21. Back then, I was in college, drinking and partying a lot, being very irresponsible in so many ways. I would not want myself to try and raise myself back then because I do not think I could handle it at all, both mentally and financially. Support him and his hobby and get to know what he's actually interested in instead of ridiculing it and just telling him to stop doing it. Also telling him that it's not important what other people think of him. Instead of saying stuff like, look, other people are looking already. That's how you create anxiety in people. This reminds me of my family. The opinions of other people is almost sacred for them. I've grown up being scared of other people's judgment. And I'm still afraid of looking ridiculous when I'm trying to do something new or when I'm meeting new people for the first time. Just this past month, I was in math college calculus and answered a question wrong on the board. Quickly realized what I did wrong and fixed it. The rest of class I spent silent and red-faced, despite the fact I'm sure, logically speaking, no one was mocking me, but I couldn't help it. Too much from my folks for too many years, and they still heap it on. Simply give him the love and attention he deserves. Make sure to never put him through the DCF process and orphanages. As a foster parent, you could provide this to other kids. Being a foster parent, I know the positive difference we make in children's lives. Just an idea. I was fostered by family, but it was 2 years after being in the system. You people are God sent. There is no feeling worse than feeling unwanted and unloved as a child. God bless you. Have some gold, friend. My wife and I were in our late 30s when we signed up to be foster parents. At the time, my wife was a case manager for DCS, so we were already well versed in the process and what to expect. We didn't have any kids when we signed up. We were incredibly lucky in our first placement, a 6-week-old who was abandoned at birth. We adopted the kid at the very earliest opportunity. Since then, we've fostered 6 additional kids and adopted 5, so now we are a family of 8. Since then, we've fostered 6 additional kids and adopted 5, so now we are a family of 8. It's hard, it's rough moments, but it's been a great ride. Don't tell him he's smart. Instead, praise his effort and hard work. Gifted kid syndrome is a bitch. To expand on this, don't profile and categorize children so early on. They're developing into little adults. They are welcome to explore every side of their personality before they find what's comfortable for them. Don't just call them goofy because they're acting silly for your attention. Don't tell everyone who they meet that your youngest is scatterbrained at 8 years old when they're in earshot. Give them a chance to figure out who they are. And don't just stuff little Chelsea in the gifted class and cram it into her head and everyone else's that she's damn genius, so she'd better act like one or learn how to fake being one. If they actually are gifted and need more of a challenge, it makes sense to provide it to them. Don't play the why you are providing it to them, though. Nothing was worse than getting bored and developing bad habits because of boredom for me. Dude, exact same for me. If I had been more challenged, perhaps I'd have had better work ethic when I was younger. I mean, for me, the problem pretty quickly became that being smart to me didn't involve things like coloring in a map or writing in a cursive, or even doing homework on things I already completely understood. I remember 2 defining teachers in my life. One was an 8th grade English teacher that made us go through thousands of sentences and mark every practice of grammar we were taught. By the second half of the booklet, we were marking parts of the sentence that I would never hear about again. The other teacher, same class in the same school, didn't do this. It was never going to be necessary. I actually did fine on it, but it taught me the lesson that lots of things we learn will be absolutely useless, and lots of teachers, especially old teachers, are just miserable people. The second teacher was my math teacher the next year, At the beginning of the year, he announced that if you miss any homework assignments but get a 90 plus on the test, all your zeros will be changed to match your test score. The assignments were fairly easy and got you 100 if you showed your work. But like most 14-year-olds, I took advantage of the rule at one point and didn't do any assignments. By the time the test rolled around, I was so stressed that I studied more than I ever had before. I ended up doing all the homework assignments anyways, plus rereading the textbook chapters and watching YouTube videos explaining the concept in mnemonics and other memorable ways. I got an 88, but it got curved 3 points or something and I got away with it. That class taught me not to procrastinate. Can't say I always followed the lesson, but I learned a lot from that class and he was a great teacher.